Hi there, my name is Caitlin and I am from grassfedgirl.com. I'm a holistic nutrition consultant and I've written several cookbooks, and I've been a Hashimoto survivor now for about 10 years. I've been trying to heal myself and it's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much and I wanted to help you along the way with what I've learned. So that's kind of my story. This video is about carnivore diet mistakes. This is my second video, so if you haven't seen the first one, make sure and go back and see. So this is a continuation. The first 3 mistakes are in my other video, and I'll link to that at the end. So this is more carnivore diet mistakes. So we're gonna do 3 more common carnivore diet mistakes today. Okay, I have a coaching group that I run pretty often, and it is called the 30-Day Carnivore Diet Challenge. And you can get that down in the description. So in that group, I've seen a lot of mistakes, and one of the biggest ones is not planning ahead. So you have to plan ahead when you're doing carnivore. Not a lot, because the meal prep is super simple, because you're only eating meat and some eggs, some fish, chicken, water. You really don't need to think that hard, but you do need to plan ahead, because that is when the things are going to fall apart and you're going to make poor choices that aren't going to align with your goals. So leaving the house, for example, without any food or without any plan of what you're going to do, I don't recommend fasting at the beginning of carnivore. I don't think it's a good idea, because it's too easy to fall into eating treats and sweets because they're so tempting at first. So you really want to fill yourself up a lot at the beginning of carnivore. So if you're not prepared for that, you're going to get hungry and then you're not going to know what to do. So one of my go-tos is always Wendy's. I have a video about how to order at Wendy's. So you can get patties for about $5. You can get a pound of patties, and that's a pretty amazing deal. So that's always a go-to. You can, of course, cook food at home and bring it with you. I try to eat a big meal before I leave the house, and that kind of fuels me for 6 hours or so. So you don't have to eat every 2 hours on carnivore. That's a misconception about the standard American diet. You have to eat every 2 hours or else you're having a blood sugar crash, but you definitely don't need to do that on carnivore. But you do have to think a little bit ahead. You don't want to get hungry and be out somewhere and the only thing to eat is Twizzlers, you know. So think a little bit ahead. Pack some boiled eggs in your purse, something like that. If you know you're going to be out for a while, just think a little bit ahead, or think, where am I going? What can I get there? And it's also a budget thing too. Like, I don't want to go into a steakhouse every time I'm hungry and eat a $50 steak. That's just not sustainable or budget friendly. So you just got to think a little bit ahead, and you know that goes for starting out carnivore too. You really got to shop, fill up your fridge, make sure that you're ready to go. And it's kind of a mental thing too, to clear out the junk from your fridge and to fill it up with the right things like meat, eggs, fish, chicken, and maybe some dairy if you do that a little bit. So those, not planning ahead is a big carnivore mistake. So number 2, I think this is a big one that many people can do at the beginning, and then it kind of throws them off track, and it is talking too much about carnivore. So you really need to keep it to yourself, because we're in an age where veganism is very big, and people think that meat causes the oceans to rise and that we're all gonna die, and methane gases in the air and all this stuff. So we know that there's not much truth to that. It's more due to industry and things like that. Cow farts are not going to kill us, but a lot of people don't know that, and they're very ignorant about that. So it's best, especially when you're new to carnivore, people want to rain on your parade because they're threatened, they're nervous, they know they're not healthy, and they don't feel good. And so here you come along with your ideas and your new way of eating and your new lifestyle, and you know, they fear change. We all fear change. So they don't want to hear that you're going to change your life and leave them behind. So people get nervous and they don't want to hear that. And so they're going to spew out any new headline they just read, and they're going to definitely put out your flame and your fire and your excitement about carnivore. So I think it's best to just keep it to yourself, especially for the first few months, until you're really sure that it's working for you and that you're doing well. And people will start asking you. You don't need to tell them. They will start asking you, why do you look younger? Why is your skin better? Do you have more energy? Why are you not complaining? They will start noticing the changes in you. So you don't need to tell them every single thing that's going on. Just eat your meat in peace and silence, and later on, they'll all come knocking and wondering what you're doing. So don't talk too much about it at first, because I want you to succeed and I don't want people to put out your excitement. That same thing goes for your doctor too. I would avoid, if you're on medication, definitely talk to your doctor, because your medications could be affected. And I'm not a medical doctor at all, so this is not medical advice. I'm just saying that when I go to the doctor, for example, I just say I'm doing low carb, or I'm doing keto, or I focus on protein. I don't go into it a big amount. Now, if you have serious medical issues or something like that you're worried about, or you're on medication, definitely do talk to your doctor. But if you're just wanting to try it and you don't have a lot of medical worries, then I would just kind of keep it low key until later on, and then you can talk to your doctor about it after you've had some success and maybe some things have changed in your blood work and you're doing better. So your doctor is going to ask you what you're doing if your next appointment, if your blood work is doing better, and you're probably going to see changes in your fasting blood sugar and some other markers that are your inflammation will be lower. So these things your doctor will notice, and if you've been doing it a while and maybe you've lost some weight, you can talk to your doctor about it. But I would just keep kind of on the DL at first, again, unless you're on some medications that need to be adjusted or you have a serious health issue. So like I said, I have a coaching group, and one of the things I see a lot in my coaching group is analysis paralysis. So we can overanalyze everything. We can overthink things, and on carnivore, that is a big mistake. If we overanalyze everything, we'll never start, and we'll think we have to be perfect in order to do this, and you don't. You really don't. You can start with whatever budget you have. You can start with whatever meat you have. You don't have to worry about organs. You don't have to worry about so many little details that you might have read or watched other YouTube videos about. I think all of those things you can think about and learn about over time, but they don't need to be your first concern at all. So I wouldn't worry about glycine methionine ratios. I wouldn't worry about organ meats. I wouldn't worry even about grass-fed at first, because if you can get that and that's your normal routine, like for me, I was eating mostly grass-fed meat at the beginning because I'd been doing that for years. So I just kept doing it. I'd been eating bone broth for years, so I just kept doing it. I've been putting collagen or gelatin in my coffee for years because I've been paleo or keto for 10 years. So these things are already normal for me. But if you're just starting out and you didn't do those things, you don't have to do them the first week or the first month. There's people that have been on carnivore for 10 years and they're doing amazing, and they only eat steak from Walmart. So that is your choice, and you don't have to worry about all those little details, especially not even for the first 6 months or year. Then later, if you learn about those things and you want to incorporate them or try them and tweak your diet, then go ahead. It is amazing to do that. If you want to up your game and try to get all your organ meats and all that stuff, it's awesome. Do it. But don't worry about it in the first several months, because you're going to be overwhelmed with just trying to change and get off the sugar cravings and all those kinds of things. So just focus on that. Focus on eating. Focus on satiety. Focus on your electrolytes. And don't worry about all those little details that you might have learned on YouTube videos or in podcasts. I mean, I love podcasts too, but sometimes when you listen, you want to try every single thing that you learned, and it can be overwhelming, and it can make you freak out and make you stop. So I want you to be as successful as possible on this diet and not give in to all the ideas swirling around in the blogosphere and the internet. So make sure that you don't fall prey to that and just focus on eating a lot, being satisfied, getting your salt, drinking your water, getting your sleep, and you will do amazing on carnivore. So to reiterate, we have not planning ahead. It's a big thing. Talking too much, sharing, oversharing. At first, you want to keep it to yourself. And number 3 is analysis paralysis. So definitely don't overthink this. It is just simple. It is just eating meat, drinking water, having your salt. That is the main things to focus on. Don't worry about all the other things that you might have heard, and you will be successful on this plan. So remember guys, I do have a carnivore ebook that I wrote. It's 182 pages. It has 26 recipes, 2 meal plans, shopping lists. It has everything you need to get started on carnivore. It is just so full of information. It's all the mistakes that I wish I had known about in the first year or 2 of doing carnivore. So now I've been doing carnivore for 16 months and it has been amazing, changed my life in so many ways. And I just wanted to write all that down for you guys so that you would have this information. And this is 182 pages. It's amazing. I also do a coaching group every quarter or so. So if you want to make sure you have the book, so when I launch the coaching, you'll be ready. So get my book. It's at carnivore30.info, or you can get it down in the description. All right, guys, I hope you liked this video and I hope it's been helpful. Please subscribe and like my channel for new videos. I try to do 2 a week. 1 is an interview and 1 is me teaching about carnivore. So I hope you like this and subscribe and share with a friend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.